I am dissatisfied with my life. I want to be living the good life. There are things that I want to do and I just don't do them. Or I can't do them because of something I knew I had to do in the past. And that's what Project Beastall is. I want to document my life with this YouTube channel and hopefully turn that around, change things. My life is not great at the moment. There are things I am embarrassed by. So embarrassed that I reflexively lie about them in social situations. And I don't even want to say them out loud, let alone put them to camera. So, you're not going to hear them until, I'm flying high and I can say, hey, look at how terrible my life was. And it's so good now. My hand's dirty? No. I don't want to be that way, right? I want to be proud of the life I live. I don't want to be embarrassed by the decisions I did or did not make or the things I failed to follow through on. There are things I wanted to do. I recently found I was going through some old things that I still want to do, that I've wanted to do for over a decade. There are things that I've written down when I was 12 or 13 that I still want to do now and I haven't done them. One of them is starting a YouTube channel, When I was very young, I wanted a Minecraft YouTube channel, but for over 8 years, I wanted a YouTube channel specifically like this, specifically like what I'm going to create. I had scripts planned and so on and so forth, and I just never did it. Or sometimes I recorded the video, never upload it. Wouldn't even watch it back. And sometimes if I did watch it back, I'd be like, that's not perfect, can't upload that. And so I'm trying to kill that here, right? There are so many things that I wish I had stuck with, that I abandoned, that I started, and that's cost me, literally years of my life, thousands of pounds, decisions like this, just like the tiniest thing of like not doing the thing I should be doing, not following through on something, and it's embarrassing, right? Like I don't want to talk about it. Hopefully, one day in the future, I will be super satisfied with my life, and I'm happy, right? But happy isn't satisfied. I don't believe myself, and that's really the main thing I've lost. Put aside the pounds and the literal years, multiple years of my life that I've lost respect for my own word. When I say I'm going to do something, I don't always believe myself I'm going to do something, and so that gives me the dilemma. It's like I've realized that multiple times, but there's only so many times I'm going to realize that and actually do something about it. And so that was this time. I was like, okay. A week ago, I had this realization. And I was like, Sunday night, it was late. And I was like, damn, I've got to do something about this. I've got to change something. That behavior pattern cannot continue. How many times can you say tomorrow? Because, when tomorrow comes, tomorrow is today. And tomorrow is the same as it was yesterday. And so you must change. This is a matter of like my very soul. I feel sort of spiritually attacked by my own previous behavior. So if I'm going to do this, I have to ask myself, what for? What do I want? To what end? Where is this carrot? What's the pot at the the end of the rainbow? And fundamentally, it's to unapologetically and ruthlessly live the life that I want to live. Like I want to be confident in saying that, everything I did, I know why I did it. I did it because I wanted to. Because that is what I believe. That's what I want to say. And most of the time, I can't say that, And there have been times in my life where I have been able to say that. And they've been euphoric. I mean, literally, like, sometimes I just get such a feeling of euphoria that I feel like I have to run outside and just run around. And sometimes I'll, like, literally spin around in circles just to release the euphoria of what I feel. And that's how good life can be. That's how great life can be, but that has only existed for short periods of time. The longest I would say, you're verging on 2 months, but the shortest, days maybe, but usually a week or two. And I'm lucky to get that, lucky to get that once or twice a year. So, that's what I want, right? I'm dissatisfied with normalcy. The average life, I think, is depressing. I think it's horrible. I think it's horrific. I think it's a grave injustice that people are subjected to it, and then not only they're subjected to it, that they choose it. But I'm the same, right? You know, I watch Netflix a lot, not because I want it, not because I think whatever it is particularly autistic and it's enriching me. No, it's like I'm tired. Give me like some stimulation to end the day. That's not how I want to live. I don't want to. I don't want to prioritize, escaping life. Right. I want to live a life where I want to live it. Right. And where I don't want to escape into Netflix or video games or anime or whatever. Right. So what I really want is like a life partner of whom I can absolutely trust, just implicitly, no matter what. Gun to my head, 100% on them. It's chill. That's what I want, and it can be, a girlfriend, a wife, a partner, or it can be a friend. Ideally both, right? Ideally, I have multiple of these people, but that's crazy. The year is 2026, so let's set expectations realistically. I want fulfilling work where I genuinely add value to the world, where I do something and I am good at it. That's it. Those two things, those are like the main things. I think if I can get that in life, I will be a happy camper. I'd also like lots of kids, right? A minimum of 4. Obviously, there's another person in that decision. But yeah, those 3 things. And obviously, I can list off sort of more concrete goals I would like. Like I would like to have an investment portfolio of 600k by the time I'm 30. I would like to weigh 90 kilos at 12% body fat, right? I would like to be a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or speak German and Mandarin fluently. I'd like to have my first kid by the time I'm 30, right? That's one a bit more serious. But, I can list things here, but it's sort of meaningless until I actually start doing them, until I start actualizing them. I guess more on the broader goals, while we're there, like community, a sense of community. It's a brilliant feeling. It's sort of like rare moments, little glimmers I've had before, where there is a community, and where I'm helping people. And helping people would also be on there, right? Helping my country, right? Britain, I don't know if you noticed, not doing too hot at the moment. But what else do I want, right? More immediately, I want to move to London, right? I'm in the middle of Derbyshire, right? Top of Derbyshire, right? And I'm in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing around here. There's no social events really going on. Everything's like a 25-minute drive away. It's not ideal. There's a lot of friction to doing things. So, yes, London is pay to play, but there are also a bunch of free things you can do there. And, not to quote, but where's the Sinatra quote? It's if I can make it there, I'll make it anywhere. Obviously he's singing about New York, but all these big multicultural cities are the same. They are a big, expensive challenge, a big beast to wrangle, a huge social hierarchy. You've got to claw your way into. I love it. It's a challenge. Phrase things like that, not this geographical area where a bunch of people are. That's lame. So what are the obstacles? The obstacles is like publicly putting up my flag, right? Doing this, right? Creating a YouTube video and saying like, hey, this is actually what I want, honestly. When I have like no motion, no energy, no bitches, no money, living at home with parents, middle of nowhere. Like, I have to joke about that stuff because it's kind of depressing, right? I can't really face like reality like square on there. Yeah, so staying on the horse. Like I said, I've done these amazing 2 weeks. I've done that a few times where I had these fantastic 2 weeks and then I just get off the horse. So staying on the horse, riding the Bronco, living up to my expectations. That's a big part of it. But yeah, another thing is following through on my promises, right? I made a promise to post a video, this video specifically, by Thursday at 5 p.m. It is now Sunday at 10 to 2, so nearly coming up on exactly a week from when I made the promise. But a little bit behind as well, but I can't like let that stop me. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I failed. Okay, stumbled over the first hurdle. Are we going to stop? No, that's stupid, right? Any excuses like that, I got to kill them. And that's one of the issues, right? Is that your emotional brain, my emotional brain anyway, it likes to pretend to be rational. It throws out these faux rational arguments all the time. And it's really like being like, oh, be a coward, but really it'll say like, oh, but aren't you worried about, isn't this a potential risk? Shouldn't we actually try to make it high quality first? This, that, the other. And it's just like, you gotta ignore that, right? Drown it out, get rid of it, okay? Banish those faux rational thoughts, okay? You've made the decision at another time, you're following through on that decision. That is when the rationality and the thinking was done. And I can and what's even worse is that I can dismantle a lot of those like in the moment. So like I know what I'm hearing in my head is like a non-rational thought, and I'm able to dissect it and I put arguments against it, but then I'm sort of like left there with this stress of my brain is telling me, it's like, no, you shouldn't do this. And then me telling me, oh, but the reason for not doing this is really stupid. So I'm like there, and this huge friction and stress is building. And I have to be like, okay, right, stop. Everything's okay. The world's not going to explode, even though it might feel like it. But yeah, and I think another big hurdle, a lot of people do this, but I do this in a very particular way, and that is like masturbating your own ideal identity. So you want to see yourself a particular way, and so you do exactly that, right? You masturbate that feeling, however that is for you. But the way I do it is I like pacing back and forth and sort of engaging in this daydream, this fantasy of as if I've already won, as if everything is perfect, and the enemies are kneeling at my feet, and this is a victory speech. But I don't want to kill delusions of grandeur, okay? Delusions of grandeur are like what make you human, right? You're not a real man if you don't have delusions of grandeur. But, and I have pretty hefty ones. But I can't allow the feeling of victory I'm like simulating there to be a substitute for the real thing. And I'm going to try to be more conscious of the fantasies that I engage in, and perhaps steer them more perhaps towards work. Or limit them or something. I don't know. It's like one of my favorite hobbies, my favorite activities is to daydream. It sounds so odd to say it like that, but people read books. They're other people's daydreams, I guess. Maybe not really. But yeah, like no more, right? I can't have that anymore. And so I've made a decision, right? Here I am. I'm making the video. This is Project Beastall. That's what I'm calling it. Okay, and that is my promise to live up to my own word, and live a life that I'm proud of, right? That's it. End of story. That's what I'm here for. That's what this YouTube channel is for, which is really like public accountability, right? Like I'm not living the life I want to. I'm able to recognize that. I'm able to solve my own problems. Or at least I think I am at the moment. Therefore, some sort of mechanism that would help me articulate that and solve those problems and then follow through on those solutions. That sounds ideal. I wonder what that could be. Perhaps a YouTube channel where I, embarrass myself publicly every week. Maybe I'll love it. Maybe I'll be rich and famous and I'll be rewatching this video and be like, nah, you didn't embarrass yourself. Everybody loves you. Or maybe it'll be the opposite. Maybe I'll be broke, homeless, poor. I log on to like the library computer that's free. AI has taken all of the jobs. I'm enslaved to like corpo, and but I don't get paid. It's just for like nutrition slop, and I log on. I see this old video, and I'm thinking, oh, you optimistic fool. Look, well, again, I'm doing the daydreaming. I'm doing the daydreaming now. Let's stop that. So, every week I'm going to post a video discussing my progress, my goals for the next week, and I'll do like a larger video every month. And an even bigger review every quarter, and we'll adjust my life, right? But in the beginning, I'm going to be building up to that, right? I'm going to be producing videos sort of philosophically justifying what I value and why, and things like that. I think that is, that's interesting. That's part of the stuff I'm interested in, right? And I'll post other stuff I'm interested in. I want to write a book. I want to make video games, so perhaps I will post videos on both of those. We'll see. But my plan this week is to set an alarm on my phone for every 15-minute increment, and record what I am doing in that 15-minute increment, and then that will be data for the next video, and we'll also be able to see how well I can stick to that, which I think is interesting. So if at that moment I'm scrolling on my phone, I'll do that. And the reason I picked a 50-minute increment is because if we round up to 25 hours in a day, right, then every 50-minute increment is 1% of your life if you do it every day. And that's pretty significant. And I think it's going to be a great hook for the video. So Yeah, if you want to watch me try to live the good life, if you're interested in one man's journey to push life to the limits, definitely past what he has previously proven to be his own limits, then subscribe, okay? I love you, and I will see you in the next video.